If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
And current Miss Sylacauga 2020, Ibby Dickson joins us this morning. Ibby, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
Good to have you with us. It's been a long time. You're a veteran of Miss Sylacauga, right?
It's been a second. I was crowned Miss Sylacauga back in November of 2019, so it's been a little bit, yeah.
And we had the COVID last year, of course. Tell us about Miss Sylacauga and where you are now.
Yeah, so it's almost been a year and a few months since then. Usually I would only have this title for about a year, but luckily I've been able to have it for a little bit longer, but also unfortunately due to COVID-19. So Miss Alabama was supposed to be in June of last year, so it has been postponed to June of this year. But you know, throughout this past year, a lot of my appearances have been really online a lot of the time, doing a lot of social media outreach. I have been able to do a few physical or in-person appearances since my crowning, but I'm just taking it day by day, especially with the circumstances this year. So it's been ultimately really rewarding, though.
Tell us a little bit more about Ibby Dickson. Who is she?
Well, I'm a resident of Sylacauga. I grew up here. My parents are Trip and Nancy Dickson. It's actually my dad's birthday today, so shout out to my dad. But yeah, I went to Sylacauga High School. I was really involved in different organizations, specifically Student Council, Future Business Leaders of America. And now I attend the University of Alabama, where I'm a double major in news media and political science. So eventually I want to go into political commentating or possibly the political field as a public servant. So that's sort of what I want to do, but really just impacting communities, working on child development. I'm so passionate about mentoring and what that can look like for our youth. So those are just a couple of things that I think really.
Talk about how you got started in the pageant field.
Well, it was a mentor of mine, so that's fun to talk about. It was Pamela McTeer. She was my journalism teacher, but really a close friend and almost like a second mom. She was the one who really pushed me into pageants, and you know, she really promoted the scholarship aspect of pageants, which I really think is what girls really want to do when they go into the Miss America system, is get that experience and get those scholarships. And so that's what really got me into the pageant scene when I was about 12 years old. Then I did not like my first pageant at all. I hated it. I was like, this is not it for me. And then I came back 2 years later with a different mindset, and I was like, this is absolutely what I want to do. So I've been competing consecutively since 14 years old.
Wow. You are a sophomore at the University of Alabama, studying news media and political sciences on the pre-law track. What does a long-term future hold for you, think?
That is a great question, a loaded question. But I do eventually want to end up in law school, just get that law background, that political background to really just help me flourish in whatever career field that I want to go into. From there, if that's working in Montgomery, in state politics, or possibly in DC, that is the ultimate goal. And that's a lengthy one that takes years to develop, but that's definitely something I want to get into.
Wow. We've got Miss Alabama coming up, what, in June?
In June.
Yeah. And how do you prepare for that event?
Well, right now it's been sort of difficult to prepare just because, some things are not in person. And last year we did have our major workshop, so we were able to get all that information. But this year we're just really waiting on some solidified dates, just some important information just to get prepared for it and everything. So all I can do right now is prepare for my talent, get ready for interview, which this is a great practice for sure, and just some different things that we can do just to prepare ultimately for the week. But as far as the week goes, some details are definitely to come just because of the circumstances given this year.
Ibby Dickson, Miss Sylacauga, and she will be participating in the Miss Alabama pageant coming up in June of this year. And it seems like a long way off, but it's not really.
It's not. It's like a month and a half, 2 months possibly. So just getting into April. So this is definitely when we're starting to get everything finalized. We're going dress shopping soon, getting everything done. Yeah.
Talk about your platform. What is your platform?
Yeah. So since we are under Miss America 2.0, we like to say it is a social impact initiative. So one of my favorite passions is mentoring and child development and what that sort of looks like on a community scale. So it started out with me creating a mentoring program in my high school. From there, it's developed in creating different mentorship opportunities, whether that's in the workplace or possibly at different high schools across communities in the state of Alabama. That's ultimately my goal. This can be through promoting mentorship in different aspects of your life. I've been able to host a campaign week called Mentoring Matters Week, where each day we do something that develops your relationships. If you have a mentor or mentee, I've been able to create a mentoring program and a civic engagement program at Central High School in Tuscaloosa, where we partnered with the David Matthews Center, and we were able to provide about 6 classes for around 70 students, 10th grade students at the high school, and just develop their relationships with students at the University of Alabama, as well as giving them different opportunities to be civically engaged. So whatever that might look like, it's definitely a broad spectrum, but I like to go into different areas just depending on what the community is needed.
Sister for Sister, you created that at Sylacauga High School.
I did, yes. That was my 10th grade year, and that was my first sort of moment where I really felt passionate about mentoring, and I knew that I wanted to do something with it. I think now we have about over 100 girls in the club, and it started out with about 90 or so, and so we've had a consecutive about 100 girls that go through it every single year. So they're paired with a younger student, and they are able to have that mentor-mentee relationship. They go through a different set of curriculums. So every month they're given a task to do, and they'll be able to go through that task, build that relationship. These topics can be everything from peer pressure to just knowing how to effectively support someone, different aspects.
Who are some people that's been instrumental in your success?
I could give you a list of 100 or so, but just in the Sylacauga community, some people that you guys might know. This is Miss Heather Adair. She was my dance teacher growing up. Miss Pamela McTeer that I've already mentioned. But I also have different role models that are just across the spectrum that I don't even know them personally, but people that I look up to. Nabi Mazarari, she's working for the United Nations, and she's an ambassador for women and children. And so across the spectrum, there are so many people that have inspired me. Katie Boyd Britt, she's president of the Business Council of Alabama. So, I mean, really, the goal is to just implement yourself and build those relationships with those who are sort of before you and know those experiences and have that advice and gain from it, but also benefit from that as well and provide some mentorship from them. We can all learn from each other. Yeah.
One of your biggest fans is here with you this morning.
My mom. Forgot to mention her. Definitely one of those.
Always got mom, right?
Right. We always got mom. So that's good. Mom Nancy Dickson, she's been such a supporter in my life. She's definitely that pageant mom. So it takes a village to sort of get a whole gang together for Miss Alabama. So she's been that person that has kept me going, kept me where my mindset needs to be, especially when it comes to Miss Alabama, because it's a lengthy process. You need to make sure your perspective and everything going into it is correct and especially aligned with our beliefs. We're huge Christians, and so she's able to always keep me on that track and be my mentor without a doubt. So.
Yeah. Ibby Dickson, who's currently Miss Sylacauga, going to be participating in Miss Alabama pageant coming up in June. Heart of Stone from Six, a musical. What is this about?
Right. So if you're interested in the royal family or anything, it goes all the way back. The musical itself is a newer one. It was developed by some college students actually in the UK. And so they were able to develop this musical, but I am singing a ballad from that musical. So it's called Heart of Stone, and I absolutely love it. So I'm so excited to perform this. I've been practicing it over the semester, and I'm really excited to perform it at Miss Alabama. I perform my talent the very last day before the final performance night for Miss Alabama. So this will be my very last sort of hurrah to the judges before they announce the top 15.
You think that's advantageous like that?
I did it on purpose, maybe. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Ibby Dickson, who's Miss Sylacauga. She'll be participating in Miss Alabama coming up in June. How important is it to you to mentor young ladies and even children that are going to be following in your footsteps?
Right, and it's something where I can promote and mentorship all day, but sort of what does that look like for me on a personal scale? Currently, I am in a sorority at the University of Alabama, and one of my jobs is Director of Career and Personal Development, and through that, I'm literally able to sit down with girls, look at their resumes, let's talk about interviews, what do you want to do in your future? And that's something that I do on a daily basis. So, and these are with students or members that are older than me and younger than me. So that's more of a peer-to-peer relationship that I'm able to sort of influence them and help them in that way. But I also do a lot of work with the Boys and Girls Club of West Alabama, and that's where I'm able to go every single Thursday. Just really talk with them, build those relationships, and start those relationships now and guide them throughout these younger years, because I think these are the most important years for sure.
Was there, Ibby, a turning point somewhere along the line that you'd mentioned earlier, one particular event, you said, I can't do this. This is not for me. But was there a turning point somewhere along the line that you said, hey, I can do this?
Well, the main reason why I didn't think the Miss America organization was for me was because I wasn't good at it when I first started. I had a lot of incidents my very first interview. The pageant directors in the area know about these little incidents, and so I thought this wasn't a thing for me, but it was Breakfast at Santa. I remember that December before I competed in the January pageant, and a former title holder came up to me, and she just really encouraged me to go for it. And she said, just give it another chance, just give it another shot and see what happens. So my mom and I were pulling dresses left and right, trying to get ready for it. We pulled a talent together, and I competed that January, and I was able to get Miss Sylacauga's Outstanding Teen. So from there, I was able to compete in different other community titles and competitions, as well as go to the state pageant a few times. So it's been so rewarding since then. But I think the main difference was me being able to believe in myself and believe that I could do it. And that's the most important thing that I think came from that.
Take us behind the curtain, behind the scenes of some of the challenges that a young lady might face in pageants. I know that you got your schooling and all this other stuff. What are some of the other challenges that one might face?
Well, time management is definitely one of those challenges that you've already mentioned, trying to manage academics, maybe organizations, as well as coming back to Sylacauga. It's only about an hour-and-a-half drive for me, but sometimes that can be difficult just to come back. And I know different title holders are facing that as well. But you just have a lot of different ways that you can really encourage yourself and motivate yourself, because you are being judged by people, and you just have to make sure that the title does not determine your value, or a crown does not determine your value. And so that's probably the biggest thing that I have seen within myself, within others, and we've talked about it before, but making sure that the competition doesn't necessarily get to your head, and really you are representing your community. You're not competing against other people, you're competing against yourself.
Ibby Dickson, Miss Sylacauga, be participating in Miss Alabama coming up in June. If I ask you the question, name two heroes in your life, who would they be?
It's so funny. The first thing that came to me was Chris Evans and Captain America, Avengers. That's not what you're talking about. But no, I would say just within my life, especially just two people that I've always looked up to, that's my grandmother and my mother. Both grandmothers, actually. I have incredible role models in my life. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do Mentoring Matters, because there's so many youth and children out there who don't have those mentors, and don't have, if that's automatic, so that's your mother, your grandparents, but also don't have those people that are outside of your family that are guiding you. So they have been automatically the first two people that always come to mind, who have shown me what grace is, empathy, and ultimately being the best individual I can be.
This interview being done on Easter weekend, and how does your faith play into your life personally?
Well, I think it does so much. I mean, this is the main reason. And sometimes it's interesting going to like an Easter egg hunt and wanting to wear a crown, but you're like, the Lord is the only one who wears the crown around here. So sometimes it goes a little bit back and forth, but I think my faith is really the thing that directs me in my passions and what I want to do in communities. And so without my faith, I really don't know what that would look like, but we're supposed to love one another and really impact each other as much as we can. So I've been able to do that through this organization, and that's what I always have to keep in mind. It's not the beauty, it's not the look, it's really what you're doing to impact others and the community that you represent. So that's been something that I've looked for in my relationship with Jesus, and sort of that just relationship in general with others.
Finally, here we are, April the 2nd. The pageant is, Miss Alabama pageant is in June. What happens between now and then?
So a lot of preparation, a lot of meetings with my pageant director, Miss Kim Parker Todd. We're doing mock interviews. Until then, we're doing a lot of walking in heels. That is definitely a situation that I found myself in, where I'm about to fall, and we got to rise up from that a little bit. But also just really developing my social impact initiative and really knowing why I want to be Miss Alabama and that whole aspect. If you have the right perspective going into it, then you're going to benefit from it anyway, even if you don't make the top 15 or if you do, or even if you end up winning. So just making sure that my heart is aligned with what I want to do as Miss Alabama rather than just going after the aspect of a crown.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And good luck in the pageant, Miss Alabama pageant in June. I know you'll be very successful. And not just there, but in life. We thank you for coming by this morning.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
It's Ibby Dickson, Miss Sylacauga, and soon to be a participant in Miss Alabama coming up in June in Birmingham. More Daybreak just ahead.